Good evening, fellow galactic aficionados. I am Dr. Fraser Crane, and this is the Smuggler's Cantina, where high culture meets hyperspace. Here, nestled between the spice lanes of Kessel and the philosophical quandaries of the Jedi Code, we gather to explore the rich, sprawling mythos of Star Wars, all whilst politely steering clear of that most contentious of timelines, the sequel trilogy. From the moral complexities of Anakin Skywalker's fall, to the finer points of Clone Wars diplomacy, to the rustic charm of Mos Eisley's most questionable patrons, we leave no stone or stormtrooper helmet unturned. So holster your blasters, ignite your lightsabers, and pour yourself a glass of Corellian brandy. You've just stepped into the Smuggler's Cantina, where the only thing more dangerous than a Sith is a poorly constructed narrative arc.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
So it always gives me a lot of joy in a kind of mean sort of way that the blue pills give us a lot of content by the irony they display. So I think late last night, it would be early this morning here, Molly Damon and Alex posted something really respectable about George and how he talks about art. The irony here is that everything that they stand for is directly opposed to what he stands for. Period. Let's go back to the sequel trilogy, which not only was a soft reboot of George's original trilogy, it destroyed everything he wrote, right? We wouldn't have Gary Buechler screaming, "Star Wars is dead," much to Kathleen Kennedy's joy and happiness, if it had been done correctly, right? You don't necessarily, Spielberg here talking about revising movies and altering content, you don't necessarily have to literally alter a certain movie in order to get it altered. All you have to do is make another series of movies that undermines everything that came before it. And filmmakers like Spielberg and George and Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola are true artists. They are creatives. And the idea that anybody could walk in, like, let's say, Indiana Jones. Kennedy tried that with the Dial of Destiny. There are two different kinds of leftist thought going on here. One is liberal, which is something I don't mind. One is leftist. Destroy the past and redo it. And the idea that Kathleen Kennedy's biggest fans are praising George for talking about art as Star Wars Celebration stuns me to no end. I mean, these are the people that led the Rey Revolution, right? These are the two idiots who had space at Star Wars Celebration to talk about Rey on a panel they were given by Lucasfilm. Period. A character so lousy that they don't make her figure anymore. And they sit there and attach themselves to George Lucas. Look, you can sit there and use clips from Ferris Bueller's Day Off all you want, but you are never going to understand what George said, because your actions towards other fans who are hostile to your bullshit speak a hell of a lot louder. Let's talk more.
I take it back. You're not unprofessional. You're a freaking loon.
Numbers for you. Do you have a pencil?
Come on, Roz, hurry up. I want to get out of here before her trainer shows up with a bucket of live mice for her pre-show feeding.
Speaking of buns I could do without, Lilith is back.
Oh, that explains why blood was pouring from all my faucets this morning.
There's no actual reason for anybody to listen to people who, first off, have a political agenda, not any sort of creative output in their lives. You don't have to listen to them when you're talking about movies you like and movies you don't like. What they cared about is an outlier, something that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't follow the idea of story making, and there's no end to it, because there really wasn't an end to the sequel trilogy. There really wasn't. I mean, when I call people who liked the sequel trilogy and then piggyback on George Lucas, the cultural Taliban, I mean it. They're unaware of the harm they've caused by enjoying this garbage, this basic propaganda, terribly made propaganda. B, attacking other fans for simply saying, we don't like this. Right? This is the problem with Star Wars Explained, etc. Right? You go back to the skirmish they had with, of all people, Star Wars Theory, who, unlike them, really loves the franchise and really loves George. This whole Me Too, I want my attention, I need to be part of this, is just vile, because they don't know even what he's talking about. They really, really don't. What they like is this incoherent babble, this nonsense, with two different directors, so much garbage added, things that didn't make any sense, and now they're praising George. Let me explain something very, very particular here. Molly Damon's probably one of those people who has called him a misogynist and a racist. Okay, why? Because it earns her cred, virtue signaling for her group of, I don't know, non-binary potatoes, right? The fact that she was allowed, of all people, to have a panel talking about how Rey changed Star Wars because she's so concerned with women is utterly fucking disgusting. And the reason why I say that is we already had great female characters. Padme Amidala, Shmi Skywalker, Leia Organa Solo. We didn't need Rey. At least Rey written in the way she was. There were already female characters in universe that would have kicked her ass and taken names. Jaina Solo, even Mara Jade, and not one of my favorite characters, right? But still, we had them. Yet, we got stuck with this one-dimensional propaganda poster because Kathleen Kennedy has issues with the men in her life. This is the problem. And the irony, again, when you look at the sequel trilogy and you look at the first 6 movies, the sequel trilogy destroys everything that George built up. And he has said, those who destroy works of art are barbarians, right? Rian Johnson, Kathleen Kennedy, J.J. Abrams, Disney itself in some ways here. And this person who says, I love Star Wars. No, you don't. You'd be as pissed off as the rest of us. And to poo-poo and attack the women disagreeing with you and call, all the, geeks and gamers, etc., a hate group because they hate Rey. Look, as a woman Ray, Rose Tico, Vice Admiral Gender Studies are insults to our sex. They are insults to who we are and what we are. Okay? That is an insult. Poorly written, ham-fisted, girl boss bullshit that doesn't exist in the real world. A few days ago, I did a video about Dawn Steele, who was the first major head of a studio, and it was as a woman. From 1987 to 1990, I think, she ran Columbia Studios. Molly Damon doesn't know that because the sun rises and sets out of Kathleen Kennedy's countenance for her. This is the problem. You can't rewrite history. I'm going to give you the analogy of the Tal el Amarna in Egypt. A long time ago, archaeologists were just digging in a place, and the sand had been blown away and exposed a place that the Egyptians, in the way back, 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, tried to destroy because they wanted the name of a certain pharaoh to disappear forever. Because if his name disappeared, then he doesn't exist. But the sand whisked their efforts away and exposed the pharaoh Akhenaten and his wife Nefertiti, and the fact that he was the father of King Tutankhamun. That's the problem with what people like Molly Damon and her silly husband do. They don't realize, no matter how much they try to erase history and try to tell people what Star Wars really means, and I throw Pablo Hidalgo in that too. You go back, blow their shit out of the way and see it for what it is, what George created, all the way up until Clone Wars. And you'll understand that they lied about it, they undermined it, they destroyed it because they don't care about the franchise. They care about their political virtue signaling. And that makes them barbarians. And the idea that these two clowns now want to put their names up next to George Lucas makes me want to vomit. This is Steph signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.